Yo, what up? Tony Tone back with the first video of the year, 2025. Let's ride.
It's been a long time. Think about it. This is how it should be done.
So what we got today? Today I want to talk about what I think should have been the camera of the year. I've seen a lot of videos. I've seen a lot of countdowns of the camera of the year, and of those cameras of the year, the biggest one was the Canon R5 Mark II. Some people picked the Z9, and a few others might have even picked the Z8. But for me, this is my camera of the year. I love it. I love it. And I love it because it's kind of like bailed me out on a number of instances. No, it does not have the same quality as an A7S III. It doesn't have the same ability as a Canon R5 Mark II. No, it doesn't have the same speed of, let's say, a Nikon Z9. But what does it have that these cameras don't have? Well, mostly it's a video camera. It can take pictures, but marginally so. As a video camera, this device can shoot up to 4K 120. It can shoot 4K 60, and it can do it with its own mechanical gimbal. Not a digital gimbal, but a mechanical gimbal, which is going to preserve the motion blur. It is a competent gimbal. I'm sure that no matter where you go, somebody is going to have an Osmo Pocket 3. There's a reason for it. They love it just as much as I do, and for the same reasons that I do. This is a run and gun camera. This is a convenient camera. This is indeed a pocket camera. It can indeed fit in the pocket. Will I put it in my pocket? No, but nonetheless, it is indeed a pocket camera that can shoot 4K 120. It has D-Log. It has a 1-inch CMOS sensor. So the quality is better than you would expect from your cell phone, although not as good as you would expect from your mirrorless camera. Which puts it in an interesting spot. Will I ever use this camera as my A camera? Absolutely not. Nor was it designed for that. But I gotta be honest. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what their experiences is. I've actually used this in certain cases as a B-roll camera, and even a sort of a fifth camera from a fifth angle, to get those emergency shots where other cameras couldn't get. In fact, I remember one wedding where we were shooting in a tight space, and I couldn't have my second shooter blocking the view, getting footage and blocking the view of my client's guests. So what did I do? I put this Osmo Pocket 3 on the selfie stick. I raised the selfie stick up to mic level. Because this has a small footprint and a low profile, I let this stand alone and catch the speeches of the bride and groom. It didn't obstruct the guest's vision that much. And when I saw the footage, I wasn't blown away, but I was extremely satisfied with the quality because the lighting was good. And because the lighting was good, this Osmo Pocket 3 came through in the clutch, and it saved my butt. I have to give it to DJI for coming up with a device like this. There's no other device like it. Not that I know of. I mean, yeah, you have your action cams, but your action cams don't have a gimbal. Yeah, you have your small compact cameras, but your small compact cameras don't have a gimbal. This has it all. Like I said, it shoots D-Log, has a rotatable touchscreen, and it has active track, which means that I can lock focus on a particular subject. This camera is so good at what it does, it was sold out for quite a long time, and as soon as they restock, it's sold out again. That's how on demand this is. That's how good this device is. Yes, the camera companies came out with some really, really good cameras this year. They came out with the Sony came out with the A1 Mark II. Canon came out with the R5 Mark II. Nikon came out with the Z8 and the Z9. Well, Nikon didn't come out with the Z8, not this year, but those cameras were competitive. This camera, this as a video camera that can shoot some stills in a clutch. This is the most innovating gadget that I've seen in a long time. And if the other camera companies are smart, they may want to create a device of their own, which is what I'm going to talk about next. Indulge me for a second. I'm a Sony shooter, but I think all cameras would benefit if they came up with their own version of a device like this. But since I'm a Sony shooter, I'm going to come at this from a Sony perspective. I'm going to imagine a Sony device, or let's call it the Sony Pocket 1 or the SP1. I'm going to call it the SP1, which is Sony's version of this device, or you can call it the Canon version of this device, or you can call it the whatever. The point is, if the other camera companies come up with a device like this of their own, everybody would benefit. And the first camera company that does it, the first true, I shouldn't say true camera company, the first camera company that was in the market for making cameras for a while that actually comes up with a device like this, they may run away with the game that year. And they may put the competition in the dirt. I believe that, because that's how important this device is. That's how amazing this device is. So the SP1, the Sony Pocket 1, what will it have? The first thing I would give it, Sony, if you're listening, the first thing I would give it is not a 1-inch sensor, but I would give it a micro four thirds sensor. Lumix, when the GH4, and not the GH5, but when the GH4 came into the game, it was putting the other camera companies to shame. It was putting APS-C cameras to shame. Everybody was buying that GH4. The quality of the video was so commanding that camera sold a lot of units. Its stabilization was fantastic. Its video quality and relatively good lighting was fantastic. I mean, it has its issues, but a micro four thirds sensor can get even better low light footage than this one can. And this one is not terrible. It's not even bad, actually. It's pretty good. But it doesn't compete, of course, with a standard SLR because of its 1 inch. But it definitely outperforms cell phone footage for the most part. I know there's some dedicated, what I call Apple heads and fewer Samsung heads that swear by their cell phone camera footage. I'm not going to argue with you. I've had different experiences. I mean, yes, in perfect lighting, I've had great quality footage with my cell phone. But I'm not, no, you can't. You know what? This is not that conversation. A micro four thirds sensor, though, does get decent quality footage. But to do that, the camera would certainly have to be a little bit bigger than this. The SP1 would definitely have to be bigger than this, which is not a problem, because even though this is small, I think this is a little bit too small. I think it can benefit by being a little bit bigger. This thing is tiny. Hey, look at my hand. This thing is tiny. So if it was a bit bigger and a bit bulkier and a little bit longer, it could house that micro four thirds sensor. and it still be an appreciable size to call it the Sony Pocket 1, the SP1. I would give it. Listen. Everybody would love 4K 120, 8K 60. Everybody would love that. But that's not. I mean, let's be real. You're probably not going to get a device that small to do 8K video without overheating and all that. So let's compromise. Let's get the SP4 6K, 6K 30, 6K 24. And the 4K does this one does 4K 120. So let the SP1 do 4K 120, but oversampled from 6K. The video quality would be fantastic. And since it would have a larger sensor, instead of having a 9 megapixel stills, give it I don't know, can we be a little bit greedy? 20 to 24 megapixel stills? And that would be a very, very, very competitive device. I don't know what to call it. A video camera, a stills camera. We'll call it a device for lack of a better word. So, what do we got? Micro Four Thirds sensor, 6K video with the option to downsample to 4K footage, 4K 120, oversample. Stills performance is 20 to 20 megapixels. Of course, it will have a built-in gimbal, 3-axis. Okay. Because it's bigger, also, like the Osmo Pocket 3, it offers the black mist filter, and it offers a wider angle lens. Well, let's capitalize on that. Being that the mount is magnetic, have the SP1. Well, let me just put it this way. Let me just back up for a minute. One of the downsides of this camera is it's a fixed lens. It's a fixed focal length. And you can't do anything about it mechanically. You can do something about it digitally, but that compromises the video quality a little bit too much for me. So the SP1 would have a fixed focal length, because it won't be feasible to try to have an adjustable focus length. And no. Let's give it the ability to have a modular lens system. So you'll have different focal lengths magnetically attached. Maybe a 50 millimeter, maybe 100 millimeter in increments of, I don't know what it would be, but allow it for it to have OEM modular lenses at different focal lengths. And because the camera would be bigger, the glass on the lens would be heavier, but it won't be so heavy that you can't do it for this device. Ulanzi actually has a lens for this, a zoom lens for this, but from what I'm hearing, the quality is not as good. There's a lot of bowing, there's a lot of vignetting. But if Sony can do it better, then do it. And you watch your clientele go wild and buy that camera, buy that device. Now check this out. Give it the ability to have a triggering mechanism for off-camera flash. Can you imagine? If it is going to have 22 pixels, 24 megapixels, and it has off-camera flash, that would make the device much more of a hybrid camera and much more of a competition. That would be lovely. Ooh. Give the SP1 video features like enabling false color, waveform monitoring, LUT previews. The things that everybody's asking for. That's what I would give it. And last have Sony come up with a microphone system similar to the Rode system, similar to the DJI mic system, where it can record 32-bit float both on the microphone and internally in the device. Perhaps you won't be able to record over Bluetooth into the camera, but this camera, it has an automatic backup audio. The audio signal that it's receiving from the mic, maybe that won't be able to have 32-bit float. Maybe that'll be a standard 24-bit float. 24-bit depth. But the 32-bit float can be recorded internally. Have the SP1 have internal 32-bit float as well as onboard recording of the remote device. If such a camera can be created, that would really put Sony or any other company that does that way over the top. They don't have to worry about things for years to come. Just like when Sony introduced the A7 III and the other camera companies were slow to the game, Sony dominated for years in the mirrorless game. Come up with your own device like this. Don't let DJI get too far ahead of you. Come up with your own device, and Sony, Canon, Nikon, whoever does it, you will certainly change the game. That's all I have today. I'm Tony Tone. I'm signing out. Please remember, I'm a new startup. I don't have a whole lot of subscribers. Hopefully I can get some. So please like, comment, subscribe, so that I can keep on bringing content after content after content. That's what I plan to do for 2025. Hopefully you'll join me. Hopefully you'll stay. And if you don't like it, then press the dislike twice to make sure I get the point. I'm Tony Tone. I'm out. But remember, you cannot be better by being the same. Peace.
This is how it should be done.